Very happy to have my next guest. He only begged me on Twitter for how long did you beg me on Twitter to come on the show?
Well, since you started taking notice, just like 2 months, but I've been hitting you up for about 2 years now.
It's been a while, and you should follow Ray Handal, by the way. Let's thank Ray for coming up here. Ray's a good follow on Twitter, by the way. You won 2 races here on Sunday. Did you ever think you'd win 2 races in a day at Saratoga?
Man, I was trying to win 1 race here, and I would be happy with that. Never dreamed of winning 2 on one day.
How many have you, before this season, how many races did you had one horse that won twice last year, right? That filly.
Yeah, the filly, and I got lucky. It came off the grass both times,
Right.
and it was a terrible field.
Yeah, that first one. Yeah, what? I mean, remember the first time
Oh
she
my
won,
gosh.
she paid $11, and both Maggie and I were on the show, and we were saying, what is this horse doing at 9-2 here?
Man, she ran a 58 buyer and won the race by 4 lengths, like a good thing.
It was not one of our stronger races.
No,
So
there was a stagger fest to the wire, so she was just in front, and nobody was coming. She was going slower. She was going slower or faster than all the other slow ones.
right, she was out slowing them to the wire.
Outslowing them to the
Right.
wire. There you go.
It's not how good you are. It's just how good you are relative to your competition.
Exactly.
How many horses do you have up here?
I have 19 up here right now, so yeah.
And how many horses do you have overall?
We're up to 26 right now. I have my assistants down at Belmont. We have 6 down there, and it's kind of in between because we're always claiming. So 19 right now, but we're always in the market shopping.
And the horse you won with the other day, Calculated Risker, that's a horse that you had claimed. How much did you claim? You can cheer for Calculated Risker.
Yeah, my guys are in the back over there. The Matt, Pat, and his buddy David.
Well, you claimed him for, how much did you claim him for?
I claimed him for 25.
And right away, he ran a huge race in finishing second at a big price. Then he didn't run well. What happened when he didn't run well?
That was my fault. I ran him back too quick, and that's kind of where I learned a little bit about him. That he's a really good feeling horse, and he trains like an absolute bull in the morning and drags you around there. But he just needs a little bit more time in between races to recover and to fire his best. And that's why I spoke to Pat after he kind of bounced last time, and I was like, listen, let's just sit on him. Let's wait for Saratoga, give him 8 weeks, have him fresh and ready. And they're going to go back to, I think 2 turns played a big role as well. Like Aqueduct is a 2-turn mile and an 8.
Right.
Belmont, obviously, you don't have any 2-turn options, and I think that helped him a lot. So it seemed like it was going to work out well with the timing. And I could see the way the condition book was kind of forming up that there would probably be a 2X for him here right at the beginning of the meet. And that's what kind of we targeted for, and it worked out well.
Now, when you claimed him, he had any 2-turn experience, route race? Because he looked like more of a sprinter type. What made you think he wanted to go long? Because obviously it was a great decision by you.
It was. Initially, I didn't really pick the horse out. Pat had owned him before with Gary Contessa, and he just had a liking for the horse, and Jeremiah had done well with him. And he was like, listen, it was the first horse I'd claimed for him, and he's like, you want to go claim this horse for me? I like him, and he's kind of got a sentimental spot in my heart, and he had won for them at Saratoga last year. And I was like, yeah, take a shot and get the horse and see what we can do with him. But when I got him in the barn and I kind of worked around him and I got on him myself, I realized that I had dissected his pedigree, and he's into mischief, and the dam had produced some long-distance dirt horses. And he's a bit of a smaller type horse. He's a smaller build horse, but he's really stout and thick and bulky. And I was like, this guy, he's never been 2 turns on the dirt. The only time he's been 2 turns is on the grass, and he won. And I don't even think he was truly a grass horse. I think he was just so much better than them on the grass that it was more the distance and going the longer distance. And I just put the thought into it all, and just identifying the horse. And I said to Pat going into the race, ideally I would have wanted to run in a 25, but they don't write the New York bred 25 going long because it doesn't fill. So I said, let's just throw him in the 40 and see what happens. And the 2X optional 40 for New York breds, and see what happens. And maybe we'll look like fools, but I think that this horse could take a huge step forward. And
He did.
It was right. Yeah.
I remember thinking this is really an idiotic spot.
Yeah.
He's putting this horse in. I mean, it looked. If you ran it, the winner was Can You Dig It, who's a nice sort of
horse.
borderline stakes quality New York bred
For Jimmy J.
Jimmy Jerkins
Yeah.
has, and he was an overwhelming favorite. And I remember when he came out top of the stretch, he looked like he was going to beat him, and I
He
thought, I
did.
can't believe this horse is going to beat him.
I know Jimmy was yelling at me. He's like, "What the hell? You give me a heart attack." He texted me after the race. I said, "Man, we're just trying to catch some breadcrumbs here from you."
And when you claim horses, do you look for horses sometimes and think, I might do this differently with a horse sometimes?
When I claim, generally I'm looking for, there's some things that I look for. I look for a horse that naturally has a lot of speed, and I look for consistency because most of the time claimers aren't consistent. So when I get them, I kind of analyze them physically and see areas where I can fix them. And, knowing your competition, I know certain trainers and when they're placing certain horses that they might be giving up on them or they're not offering certain things that we do at, our stable. But as far as, targeting horses on paper to claim, I don't really have like a specific plan for them, but there's certain characteristics that I look for.
We don't want you to reveal your secrets.
Well,
We don't.
Yeah.
When did you start? When did you first start working on the racetrack, and why?
Well, I started working on the track. I left home when I was 15. My dad was a gambler, and we used to handicap and bet the races on the weekend. And I just fell in love with horse racing.
Where was this?
This was I grew up in Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica.
Really?
The island.
Really?
Yeah. My dad's from Jamaica, and
Really?
Yep. We used to go to Caymanas racetrack.
So you're pretty much at home in New York with all the Rastas, right?
Yeah, they all hit me up. They're like, "Man, I say, yeah, man."
I love those guys. I wish they come up more.
Yeah.
My friend Roy comes up occasionally, but most of the guys don't come up.
They're good
We
dudes.
need more Jamaicans up here. We do.
Yeah,
They're
they
great. Those
spice
guys
it up. That's
love
for
the
damn
game.
sure, yeah.
I'll tell you a great story with some of the Jamaicans at Aqueduct when OTB closed. New York City OTB closed. A lot of patrons from New York City OTB started coming to Aqueduct. And if you've never been to Aqueduct, we get a big crowd. I mean, it's busy there every day. And a couple of the Jamaicans came up to me and said, Andy, man, we need more security. These OTB guys, they're really rough. So there you go. They're great. I mean, I love those guys.
Yeah.
They love the game.
Yeah, they are. My uncle's still very much like he came up to he moved to we're all moved up now, but he came up late and he's very much the guy you see on the rail screaming at the jocks that they switched that they didn't switch to the left stick early enough in the race.
They don't miss a trick.
No,
these guys. They miss nothing.
He calls me and lets me know too when I make mistakes. He doesn't shy away from that.
So you started working on the racetrack when you were 15?
Yeah, I left home. I told Pops, I was like, listen, I'll go back and get my GED and I'll do everything online, but school's not for me. I want to do horses. And, I left with his blessing. We had moved from Jamaica to Fort Lauderdale, and I was hot walking horses at Calder, and
Who are you working for?
Larry Bates.
Sure.
And he was sending a string to Colonial Downs for the summer meet that they used to have there. That
Nice,
turf
cool
festival.
summer at Colonial Downs.
Yeah,
was Maggie working then? Was that when Maggie was working at Colonial Downs?
No, she wasn't there.
She
then.
worked at Colonial Downs before
Yeah,
she came to work with us.
she was-
I
she
used
was-
to watch her on TV.
She was like 1 year. We missed each other by 1 year, but yeah, I went up there and I started hot walking and I kind of hooked up with a guy that he was assistant trainer for Jonathan Shepard, and he was heading up to Saratoga for the summer, and I stopped off at his farm and learned how to ride at this farm. I mean, it was a crazy road.
So you were
to get-
riding?
Yeah, I learned how to ride at Jonathan Shepard's farm. I spent
Pennsylvania?
in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Spent 2 years there, and then I kind of graduated. I put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears at that place, and but I learned a lot from Jonathan. He's a great guy, great horseman.
He's the greatest. Yeah.
And then I was working for Michael Matz for a while, and kind of polished up my riding and my horsemanship skills, and started learning a little bit more, working around the barn and the management side of things.
Did you work with Rick Dutrow at all?
Yeah, that was later on. I was like bounced around forever, but Rick was kind of right towards the end. I galloped for Rick, and I kind of helped him around the barn here. I worked for him 1 year, and then I went on to assistant trainer for Tony Dutrow.
Oh, yeah, I saw Tony today. I haven't seen him forever. I love
Tony's
Tony.
great, man. We had 100 horses, and he sent me to New York, and I had 25 horses in my care up here, and I'd pretty much only see him for he would come up periodically, but he let me kind of do my thing, and we would hook up here in Saratoga. But that's really where I got my polishing and
When
learned
was
how
this?
to train. I've been training now for 4 years, so the 3 years leading up to that.
Now, when he won the Alabama, were you still working for him then? It's my only. I had two good picks that summer. The winner was
I'm
one.
trying to remember. Was that Grace Hall?
Whole summer.
Was that
40.
Grace Hall?
No. What was it? Embellish the Lace.
Oh no,
Susie
that was
knows
before.
everything.
That was after me. I was Grace Hall in so many ways. Who was in trouble? He
The
had
Big Beast, or is that?
That was right after me. I had the Big Beast. Like he had him briefly before I left.
So we're gonna have to take a break, but Ray's not going anywhere. When we come back, Ray's gonna tell us why he made the incredibly ridiculous choice to actually become a trainer in his own. Right. Thanks a lot for staying with us here and At the Post Live. I'm very happy to continue to have Ray Handal here. And Ray, now that you've won 2 races in the first weekend, what's your goal for the meet? What are you thinking? What would make you happy? Realistically.
Realistically coming into it, I was hoping for 5 wins. I had 3 last year. And I was thinking about it today, and I don't know what a realistic goal is. I mean, I have 2 wins now, and I have about 10 different horses to run here. And, a few of these that ran back might catch the last book. So, I guess 6, 7, 7 would be great. 6 would be, I think 6 is realistic right now because I have a lot of horses that I really like, and we're going to be in some really aggressive spots with them, and some horses are going to look really good. So I guess 6, maybe 7.
You ran 2 2-year-olds last week in affiliate at Colt. Did they run any good? It's
They
tough.
ran okay. I mean, I thought the filly might need one, but the Colt I really liked. Unfortunately, we ran against one of the best.
That
2.
Asmussen
Yeah.
monster, right? Well, you're going to run into monsters from Steve or Todd or Chad or these guys. I mean, it's tough.
It is tough. But coming back with the experience, just if that horse wasn't in the race, I mean, I know you always say that, but he was chasing on the outside 3 wide. He used up a lot of horse just to kind of maintain, and then he got bumped down the lane, and he started crossfiring. It's when they switched the leads behind, and he kind of lost his action. He was beat 6 lengths and ran a decent
That's not
buyer.
bad.
Yeah, no, it was good.
How fast was that race? That must have got a big fig, that race, right?
I thought it was. I was kind of disappointed. I think the winner got like a 76. I got like a 57 or 58.
It's not a bad start.
It's not bad, but I was really high on him. I mean, when we spent a good penny for him. We bought him for $250,000, and he was breezing the right kind of way.
Jimmy Creed?
Jimmy Creed Colt, yeah, out of. He didn't really have much pedigree. The mayor was by the Close Edge, I think. But
yeah, I remember looking it up. I just can't.
But physically, I mean, he just checks all the boxes, and he looks like. I still think he is probably going to be, if not the best horse, one of the best horses I've trained up to this point. So.
Well, hopefully it'll work out. I mean, one start. There are plenty of good horses that didn't do well in their first start
Exactly.
or 2.
Yeah, American Pharoah got beat like 8 lengths
He did.
first time
He got
out.
buried first
yeah.
time. Ohm won, right?
Yeah.
Ohm won that
That's
race.
right.
He's actually still running.
Yeah.
American Pharoah is not.
No.
So when exactly, what led you to make the decision to go out on your own and become a trainer? It's a big choice. It's a big change, right? A lot of different responsibilities. It's tough.
It was tough. I kind of had a decision to make. Sunrise Stable, they own Frost Giant and Big Brown, the stallions. I'll go back to when I was at Tony Dutchrow. One of the years I was up there, it was his freshman's year as a stallion in New York, and he had broke all the records for freshman stallion. And I built a relationship with the guys. Tony kind of just gave me the free rein, and he was like, take care of these guys, talk to them, and keep them in the loop. And they were like almost like my clients, and. We broke the record for freshman stallion for Frost Giant, and they were like, whenever you want to go off on your own, we're gonna back you, we'll support you. Just let us know when. And Tony had wanted to consolidate his strings from Parks and Delaware and New York, and all come to Fair Hill. And I had my roots in the door here, and I loved New York, and I loved, I always wanted to be here, and I kind of had planned on staying in New York until I decided to go off and train. And so I kind of got to a point where I was like, well, when he said it's time to go, I was like, I kind of want to stay. And he's like, do what you want to do. If you're ready and you're set, that's fine. I'll help you a little bit as much as I can. So I called up to the guys from Sunrise Stable, and they're like, we'll have 3 horses there tomorrow. You just give us the word. So.
How long did it take before you won a race when you were on your own? I feel like you won pretty
really quick.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd started in September, and I won my first race in November with my second career starter. He was a 70-to-1 shot bomb that won a maiden special off the turf.
Really? Who was
Yeah.
the horse?
Chase the Giant.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And my first runner had ran second first time out, and I loved her. She was out of her grade 1 winning mare. Wonder How I Got Here was her name, by Big Brown. She ran second, and then he ran a week later and won at 70-to-1.
Right, it was at Aqueduct, like the second
Aqueduct.
race or something.
Yeah, and then I went like 6 months without winning a race.
Well, it's not easy. Right. You thought you were going to
I was like, man, I got this thing figured out.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We all think we have it figured out. I think I have it figured out sometimes, and then I realize how little I know. But isn't that what makes it fun? Isn't that what makes it such a great challenge?
Oh, it is. I mean, absolutely. You know, it just every time there's every day you learn something new in this game, and you know the horses will humble you quickly. You know that's one thing I learned very quick.
So you have any fun in Saratoga? You like to go out occasionally. Occasionally, I'll run into you at night.
This year it's been a lot different, but yeah, I've had
It's early, Ray. It's early. A lot different than what?
than the past years. But we did go out and celebrate. My girlfriend and I, we went out and had a nice fun night on Monday night.
That's great.
So
Good.
yeah.
Well, you should. I mean, winning 2 races at Saratoga.
Not too often.
I mean, right. It's not the list of trainers that have won 2 races in Saratoga. It's not like a mile long.
In one day,
Right,
Let
that's-
alone, I mean, that's awesome.
Right. No, it's great up here. I mean, I mean, do you look forward to coming up here every summer?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's what when I was a kid and watching races, I wouldn't miss a day or a race, when the Saratoga meets on. So to come up here and luckily we've been really successful up here. So it's been really blessed to have the guys support me and the owners support me and let us place the horses in the right spots. And I think that's the biggest reason why we've been so successful.
Well, we wish you continued success. Ray Handal, thanks so much for joining us here at
Thank you.
AfterPost Live.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Ray. Thanks a lot. Stay with us. We come right back.